We get up 8 or 9, and then we just, that horrendous call on Aaliyah on the rebound, the intentional foul, and then you get 2 free throws, end the ball, and they get 2 buckets, a bucket there. Just, sometimes stuff happens in the game that you just shake your head. So, onward and upward, as they say.
Geno, you said Tuesday night afterwards, at this point, things aren't fixable. But when you get to, say, next Monday night and you get 10 days off, will rest maybe help fix things a little bit?
Some rest, extended days of practice, but mostly rest. Where you can address all the things that are hard to address when it's flight, game, practice, flight, game, practice. It's just, you don't have the time, and that's really when it catches up to you, because to think that players aren't going to struggle as the season goes on for whatever reason is just crazy. Of course players are going to struggle. I mean, how do you explain St. John's getting 38 points at Marquette and they could have got 90 on us? So players struggle. Sometimes they struggle for a game, sometimes they struggle for a week, sometimes they struggle for a month. And ideally, you can work with those players to bring them back. But when there's no relief, sorry, you're gonna have to play through all this. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So, we responded pretty well after the Marquette game, and we had a couple grind them out kind of games. And we were so locked in for the Villanova game, so it's just hard to keep it together for 5 months.
So, it's kind of funny to think we're coming down the stretch already of lose UConn experience.
Yeah, right.
What do you? Seems like she's made the most of the opportunity.
I would think.
How has she gone about that? What's been your
I would
take
think.
on that?
And the funny part about it is, I don't think. Again, I didn't see enough of her, but I don't think Lou did anything different this year than she probably did the last 4 years. I bet you that's how she played the last 4 years. She's probably played more man-to-man. She's faced better competition on a regular basis, more scenarios defensively than she's had to see for the previous 4 years. More minutes probably than she's ever played at this pace, at this level. And yet you come out and the numbers are probably exactly the same. And the difference in Lou this year than last year is, she just had a bigger stage to play on, and now more people in America know who she is. And that's a great thing for her, because I think that's what she deserves, like Bruno, we were talking yesterday, and Bruno made a comment about Lou, to the extent, and Segrist the same thing. I think both of those guys were in the same boat, maybe, that shame on us and the rest of the country that didn't know who she was. And you have players like that they just need a place to showcase themselves, and this was her place, and she does it with in such a team way that it just fits seamlessly.
Is that what you're most impressed about with her, is what a team player she is, or is there something else?
I think the most thing that I am is her maturity level. I love her approach. I think her approach is like absolutely perfect for a high-level athlete. That's why I think she'll be a great pro, because she is consistent day to day. There's no ups and downs. There's no drama. There's no worrying. You know, things don't affect her. And don't get me wrong, she's not a robot. You know, there were times during the season, you probably saw it, when, you know, the physicalness, the things, the no help from anybody else to make any threes, to take some pressure off of her. You know, certainly that had a little bit of an effector on her for a couple games, but I just think her consistency from day one, as you know, both on the court, off the court, emotionally, physically, playing wise, have for me been the most impressive things.
This is the first senior night I can think of that won't have a 4-year senior. But yeah, there seems to be an appreciation from fans, teammates, coaches, and everything for what Dorka and Lou have done in their 2 and 1 year respectively. So what does that say about them? You know, more as people as much as players.
Look, some people could spend 4 years in a school, and on senior night, the fans are like, I felt it. I know it. I've been here long enough to have a million different senior nights. 1 senior, 2 seniors, 5 seniors, 4-year seniors, 3-year seniors. And some seniors come through here and the fans are never affected by them. They just kind of are here and they play. And then there's others that after 1 year, Sveta, Maya, just 2 that immediately come to my mind. There's so many more. Or after 1 year, the fans are already in love with those kids and go, wow, this kid's, that if that kid left after that year, you know, if this was men's basketball, they would be legends at UConn. So I think it depends on who you are, how you carry yourself, and the impact that you have on the team. And we say that all the time, you know, like, how do you want to be perceived? How do you want to be viewed by your teammates, by the fans, by people watching at home, by your family and friends, everybody? Because every time you step on the court, you have an opportunity to do that. And then how are you off the court? You know, what kind of person are you? Do people gravitate to you? Are you a loner? Do you get engaged? You know? So those kids that do all that, they become, like, right away fan favorites. And the fact that, you know, our fans that you kind of appreciate, people who play hard and people who are, you know, great team players and try to play the game the right way and honor the game the way it's supposed to be played. I think our fans really, really appreciate that.
What about Lou, the person? I remember you saying that the Fairfield athletic director told you that she's the best person he's ever. Have you experienced that now that you've had a year
Absolutely.
with her?
Absolutely. And that's what I was talking about. You know, her maturity level and how she carries herself and just the way she is with people. She just has a way. You know, she just can be a regular person with you or with one of the coaches, one of the staff on campus or professors, other coaches in the league. You know, she just can interact and, again, be comfortable in any situation that she's put in.
You know, grad transfers, because of COVID and everybody has that extra year, it's like a little more commonplace in women's basketball now. But how do you know, like, usually when you recruit someone and you start in the 9th grade and get to know them, like, how do you know that Lou and Dorka are good fits for the program and good people, like, before when you bring them here, like, just like when you get them so quick?
The real answer is you hope. You don't really know. You hope. With some people, you have a much better insight. Others, not so much. And we've had both, you know? We've had kids come in that you just go, what the hell was I thinking? Like, that makes no sense. And then you have others that go, man, they look like they've been here 4 years as, you know, as a kid, as a teammate, as a player. You know, and Dorka and Lou are in that category. I think the science of it doesn't exist. There's no formula, although I am starting to investigate certain tests. Got to be able to give these kids a certain test to see what their makeup is, to see what their deal is, you know, how, because you can't tell that much anymore. You know, it's not like in the old days. And you make mistakes in the old days too. You make mistakes now, and you get a lot of them right. So you just cross your fingers and hope. That's the bottom line.
What were your impressions of Dorka then, back then when you were looking at her to come into this program, and have you seen her evolve since then?
Yeah, my only recollection of Dorka was when we played Ohio State, and she was young though, and you know, then she had an injury, and so when we talked to people about her, it was, yeah, let's get her on campus and see what it's like, and we need a big kid that's skilled, and we need somebody that can shoot the ball from the perimeter, and we need someone who's played the game for a while, and the same way, you know, she's a lot like the majority of those international kids that come over to America to play basketball. They've come over for a purpose, you know. So you could tell Dorka right away, you know, she came over here for a purpose. They come over here to get an education. So almost never do you have to worry about those kids' academic. And number two, they understand I'm here for a reason, and I'm here to accomplish some things, and I have goals in mind, and they're pretty driven to accomplish those goals. And you know, it didn't take more than, you know, Dorka being here a day or so to kind of figure that out.
You said last week that.
Go ahead, man.
You said last week she's becoming more vocal in huddles. How have you seen her grow in leadership this past year?
This past week, you mean? That's something we've been harping on, but each player, they take a different route to how to get there. You know, as I mentioned earlier about in some players' first years, you know, you go back up to your office and you talk to the coaches and you go, man, the rest of the team's going to have a problem with this kid because she's not going to let up. And then others, you're begging them to talk, begging them to be more vocal, begging them to take on, you know, those qualities, and everybody does it in their own time. But it's gotten back to me that lately during games, there's been, you know, more opportunities, and she's taken advantage of them, where Dorka has, you know, made her presence felt, and that's not something that I think may have been happening 2 months ago. So I like when people feel comfortable enough to be able to do that. It means they're comfortable in their game, comfortable in their own skin, you know, that sort of stuff.
Geno, when Lou was considering coming here, and then when she got here, she talked about a WNBA future and how this could help that. How much did she need to prove herself at, you know, at the highest level, under the brightest lights? And I mean, if she was down at Fairfield averaging 23, 24 a game, maybe she would have gotten the same opportunity, maybe not.
Maybe not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe not. And I truly believe that if Joe would have stayed, you know, Lou probably would have stayed.
Yeah.
You know, comfortable, you know, they know each other, but this opportunity came along for her, and in talking to her, that is not something that she could ever imagine. You know, I remember her saying, when I was sending things over here to, show people, hey, this is like kids do. So the responses were like minimal. So in her mind, the idea of playing at a place like this never existed. Then when she got to Fairfield, it's like, okay, I'm at Fairfield and that's it. And ended up making a huge impact. And every kid, I think, now that has any success thinks about their future and thinks about playing basketball beyond college. Some are delusional, some are never going to play another game of organized basketball once they leave college. And some are, realistic. And I almost want to say that if you were watching, if you're a professional basketball coach or an assistant, or you are in charge of scouting, somebody somewhere was going to invite Lou to training camp somewhere. And now they're talking about her being, a first-round draft pick.
So it allows more people to see.
So now they didn't have to go out. You really want me to go see a kid play in that league? Meanwhile, there's like a lot of really good players in that league. Now they don't have to. Now they go, hey, you know what? I'm turning on to watch, Dorka because she's a senior and we're, oh, and who's the other kid? And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, that's the kid from Fairfield. Well, now she becomes more than just a name and somebody that you heard about or you're looking for video on. Now she becomes, somebody getting 26 at Tennessee. And all of a sudden, you have to think differently. But knowing the game up there, knowing how it is, I hope like a lot of people pass on her. I really do. Because I always think the later you go in the draft, the better team you get to play on. People all want to be the number 1 pick or number 2 pick or number 3 pick. Good. You're going to a team that can't win and you're expected to do all the things to help them win. And some people, that's great. I like to think for players like Lou, if she gets on a really good team, she's going to make a difference. 100%.
You said last week you didn't have an update on AZ, but you said she was doing some non-contact workouts. Do you have an update on her availability for the Big East tournament?
Well, we were just talking about that, and there was a workout that she did with Morgan, and Morgan came out and said that I think yesterday that that's the best she's looked since that happened in the Georgetown game. What that means, I don't know. It's almost like her and Carol were in the exact same place, When are you going to be ready? When I'm ready. I said, well, that's a great way to go, right? I'll be ready when I'm ready.
Is it when she heard it against Georgetown, was that a re-injury of the one that happened at Notre Dame, or was it something new?
You got to remember that there was a long time in high school where AZ didn't play because she had a knee injury, and this one wasn't related to any of the ones that she's had since she's been here, and you can't even pinpoint that it was related to anything that happened in high school. It was just one of those things that you get hit in the wrong place at the wrong time. It could have been anybody on the team, whether you have a history or no history.
What did you and Bruno talk about? Did he try to psych you out or anything?
Psych me out?
Yeah. What did you guys talk about?
Nah. We have a way of talking a lot without necessarily talking about Anything in particular?
The elephant in the room.
Yeah,
like, oh, we're coming to
we
play.
really don't. We really don't have much to talk about. You know, that's has anything to do with anything important. But I know it's their senior night, Saturday, tomorrow, senior day, tomorrow. So I think, you know, he just wants to make sure everybody here understands what their situation is and what they're doing. But we get an opportunity to describe, you know, our situations to each other in a way that we can't describe it to anybody else. Just for laughs, you know, just so we can laugh a lot. So.
It's a tough place to play, obviously.
You know.
It's a tough trip for you guys.
You know, it is. It's a little easier than playing on campus. You know, that was really, really hard. But you know, going out there and playing them is hard because you never know which DePaul team you're going to get. I don't even mean that night. I mean, like, which DePaul team are you going to get each quarter or after each timeout, right? We were on the phone the other day, and down 19 to Villanova, and it's a 1-point game with a minute and a half. I mean, yeah. So when you're playing them, especially with Morrow and, you know, the way she plays, I mean, she could single-handedly win a game, you know, even if you do everything right. You know, and last year, was it last year when we were out there? Yeah, when we needed a bucket. Yeah, we needed a bucket at the end to win. Game went into overtime, right?
No.
No? Oh, she scored to keep it from going into overtime? Yeah. Thank God it didn't go into overtime then. So, you know, then they come here and they don't play great. They don't play great. And we played one of our best games of the year.
Geno, I know
we ain't getting the same DePaul team when we go out there. And they may not be getting the same UConn team. Who the hell knows?
Geno, I know they're replacing the court at Gamble after the season. Do you have any memories that stand above the rest from playing at Gamble and on that court in particular?
So many. You know, some have to do with practice, some have to do with games. But for me, the biggest is I think the very first game we played there, you know, opening night, we played Georgetown. We were like a test run for the men's game coming up that weekend. The guys were going to play St. John's that weekend. And they go, well, let's try it out on the women's game, you know, and any glitches, anything that breaks, we can fix it between then and, you know, when the guys play. And it was going from the field house to here. It was like going from black and white TV to you're watching, you know, Star Wars on a big screen in HD TV, you know, like it was just mind-blowing for the kids and for the fans and for everybody. And I described it before as then people were walking around campus, they saw the lights and they thought like a UFO landed in the middle of campus. And they all came in to find out what was going on. And they're all lined up around the concourse, looking down at the court. We were laughing on the bench. So that's one that I'll probably, and then there were other ones, some pleasant, some not so pleasant, you know, both, you know, because we won or because we lost or a kid got injured or a kid made some amazing plays. So yeah, a lot of amazing memories. Good and bad.
Is Caroline all right? I mean, coming off that performance the other day, that wasn't a result of the injury. That was just one night where she didn't shoot really well.
Yeah, no, it was bad. I mean, she'll be the first to tell you it was bad. You know, I think we got 5 points from Carol and Aubrey combined. And I think they got 26 or something like that, or however how many they got. So yeah, it's hard for us to win a game if we don't have one of those two playing well. But if we don't have either of those two playing well, it's really hard. And it has nothing to do with anything other than, the rust catches up to you after a while when you haven't played a lot, and you haven't practiced a lot, and some days Caroline practices, some days she doesn't, some days she practices after practice, some days the whole practice. You just never know. So I don't know that for the rest of the season she's ever going to be the way she used to be, 100% of the time. So that just may not be possible. So that was just one of those days. But she was indicative of the rest of the team too. Everybody was kind of out of sync, out of sorts, and totally unexpected. The preparation going into that game was probably, I was a little bit surprised how good we looked in practice, given, the amount of travel and coming back from Villanova and the big game and all that. I just think St. John's kicked our ass, flat out, in every area, coaching-wise, aggressive-wise, ran their stuff better, played harder defense, came after us, When you add all those things up, quite frankly, I'm shocked that they won. I think if they'd have lost, they should have drug tested everybody that night if St. John's had lost.
Given everything you guys have been through this year, where do you think you'd be without Lou?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea. I have no idea. Not where we are, but I don't know where. But not where we are. That's 100% true. So
you mentioned, the biggest priority is keeping this team healthy going into March. How do you kind of balance that with pushing for the regular season title here?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you want to win the Big East championship. That's goal number one, right? So, we win. We need 2 wins to win the Big East championship. So we're going to try to get one Saturday and one Monday. Will we do anything and everything possible to do that? Remains to be seen what that may look like. But, we're going to prepare and we're going to go play and we're going to do everything we've done and hope that it's good enough. The tournament's the tournament, and got a lot of streaks end. So this might be time to get them all out of the way, huh? Just get them all out of the way in 1 year, and then, start fresh next year.
Dorka said, last year breaking her wrist was kind of exclamation point of her decision to come back for this year. She realized she still needed to grow a little bit. Where have you seen her growing the most, just in coming back for this last year?
Just confidence-wise, I think she's more confident. And she probably did need to be here a little bit longer, because I don't think there's anything more important than confidence in a kid that has expectations to play at a higher level. So I think she's gained that, and she's more comfortable shooting the ball than she was last year. She's averaging a double-double, I think, in the conference. I don't know about overall, but I just think it gave her an opportunity to certainly play a lot more minutes, and she's just taking advantage of it, but she had senior night last year too, right? That's the new thing with COVID. It's a new thing now. You can play in multiple schools, have multiple senior nights, get jerseys from every school that you go to. It's just a weird time, right?
I wondered
Maybe Lou's going to have senior night, and next thing you know, she'll be back.
I wondered if Dorka was going to bring her jersey from last year on Monday night and just give it to her.
We ain't giving her a new one, I'll tell you that. We're going to give her the Sam Zach one that we gave her last year.
Football program's got a kid on his 4th college.
What?
Football program has a kid on his 4th college.
Kids collecting jerseys. Kids got more jerseys than Mitchell and Ness. It's a Philly store, by the way. I bought jerseys there 100 years ago before they were famous.